Hello everyone, happy Friday. I cannot believe that it's already Friday. It's June 13th, 2025, and I hope that you are healthy and happy. I am excited to be with you this evening. We are going to play with a stamp set called Peaceful Pier in the annual catalog. But before we do that, let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. You'll want to make sure that if you are not already a follower of my Facebook page, you'll want to hit that follow or the like button or the follow button so that you will get notifications every time I do go live. I try to go live every Friday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, there's a few times that for some reason it just doesn't happen, but I try to be consistent so that you will know when and where to find me. And if you are watching this evening, if you are watching the live, please go ahead and comment. Let me know that you're here. I always like to interact with you guys. I can see that Lori's here from Ohio and Holly's here. Hello, both of you. I hope you are doing well. It's been a crazy week for us in the Sunseri family. My daughter went to church summer camp on Sunday. We'd been praying for everyone to be safe and healthy. And then we got a call on Wednesday, late in the evening, that she was sick and she had a fever. And the camp is 6 hours away. So my husband and I got into the car and drove. We left at 9 p.m. and drove, got to Fresno around 11. And then it took us an hour to find a hotel because all of the hotels were booked solid. Apparently, air conditioners are breaking in Fresno and residents were living in the hotels. So I think we got about 4 hours of sleep and then got up and did the rest of the drive to go get her and bring her home. And she's been in bed since then. She had a low-grade fever and some cold-like symptoms. I'm desperately trying not to catch what she has and stay healthy. So I'm washing my hands and disinfecting as much as I can. And then, Dad went and got 7-Up and popsicles, and we've got chicken noodle soup going and hot tea with honey, and mostly it's her throat. Her throat hurts and she's congested. So, and the fever's gone down. It's under 99 now. So praising God for that. I think she's on the mend. It's just she always, when she gets a cold, it kind of drags. Do you guys ever do that? Like it just drags. Yeah, not fun. So that's been my week. And I'm just tired. I'm really tired because I've got a lot going on. We've got Vacation Bible School coming, and I've been getting ready for that. And I have 2 events happening in July with stamping, and so there's a lot of prep work. So I'm just busy and yet tired. And you would think I'm on summer break and I would be sitting and relaxing, but it's not happening. Well, hello, Gail. Hello, Sherry. I would love you ladies to just pray that the rest of us stay healthy. My birthday's next week, and we were supposed to see family. I don't know if that's going to happen now. And we didn't get to see family last month because of illness, so trying to stay positive, and hopefully everything will work itself out. So let's do some fun stuff tonight, okay? Enough of me, and let's get some fun stuff happening. So if you don't already follow, please go ahead and do that. And then you'll want to join my email list. This is my business email. You can shoot me an email or you can private message me here on Facebook, and I will add you to my distribution list. And then I send out information whenever we have promotions and sales or events and classes and things like that, okay? We do have a sale happening right now, and it's called the Sweet Sale. So basically, anything that is in a suite or the suite itself, you buy one and you get another one half off. It's a little bit tricky. So you want to be very careful about how you put things in your shopping cart. Here's my tip. Put a whole suite in and then get the next suite half off. Don't put smaller things in the cart like ribbons and embellishments. If you want to do that, that needs to be a separate order. So really think about where the savings is going to be, because it's going to give you the item that is the lesser price at half off. All right. And this is for the whole month of June. And then we do have a scrapbooking retreat. Close to my heart used to do these, and now Stampin' Up! Is going to be doing their first ever. And you do have to purchase the kit. I hear it is 12 double-sided layouts. So it's like a year's worth of scrapbooking. And then these are the dates of my classes. So my next class is actually July 12th. So I am located in Elk Grove, California, close to Sacramento. And I do a session at 9 a.m. and I do another session at 1 p.m. I can accommodate 18 ladies at each session. And so if you would like to come to a class, they're $20 and we make 5 cards. Okay, so in the catalog on page 96, this is the stamp set. It's called Peaceful Pier. I love it. To me, it screams summer evenings, summer afternoons. We've got a pier, we've got some trees, 2 fish, some little grass, tules, a little boy fishing, and then some great sentiments. This one I love. It says, somebody knows, somebody cares. Your name is whispered in somebody's prayers. You know, you could use that with other stamp sets because I just feel like that is such a nice sentiment. And then we have Just Because, and then Thinking of You Today. Now, I'm going to do a couple, I've got 3 cards. We're going to do a variation of these. Not exactly, I'm going to change them up a little bit, but we're going to play with some blending brushes today. We're going to play with some watercolor pencils and a blending pen. So, let's get started. All right. First one that we're going to do is going to be involving the fish stamp sets. So I've got a piece of white here. It's a little hard to see it on the, I've got this because I'm going to be using my blending brushes. And I don't want to get it on my glass mat and then have to get ink on my paper. So what we're going to do is I pulled some Pretty Peacock and I pulled Garden Green. And we are going to stamp both of these fish images. We'll make this guy Pretty Peacock, and then we'll do the other one in Garden Green. Okay, and I'm going to do this guy all different directions. Now, my dad grew up in Illinois, and they would go fishing. He and his brothers would go fishing. Oops, all the time. They would get catfish and all sorts of critters, and they loved to go fishing. Lots of good fishing holes. Need to do some in different directions, I'm realizing. Now you could do masking on this if you need to, and masking is just another technique where you block off a part of it so that you're not overlapping on your images. I'm going to do one more here. We're going to have a die that we stamp a sentiment on, so you're going to cover up some of that. Okay, and then I think I've filled that up pretty good. When you start to question or when to stop. That's probably a good time to stop, but I think I'm going to do one more little part right up here, just his head maybe. And maybe let's do, I think I want to do the other one. Let's do right here. Okay, I think I filled that up pretty good. Let's cover up our ink. They are really cute stamps. When I was placing, I had waited, I didn't place my big annual catalog order right away. I was just spending some time really thinking about what I wanted to purchase. And then when I was ready to make my order, this stamp set was out of stock, and so I had to wait for it to get back in stock. But it just screams, it screams country summer to me, you know, and just thinking about my dad being a boy and out with his brothers fishing. All right, so I just made a mat of Pretty Peacock, and then we're going to put this on Garden Green, which I'm using both colors of cardstock that we used with the inks of our fish. Okay. And I'm using Stampin' Seal Plus as my adhesive choice. And then I have a die, and we're going to feel like it's too much white. So I'm thinking, let's use, I wasn't planning on this, but let's use, figure out which, I think Just Because, and we'll put a fish on there, but I think I'm going to do, kind of wishing that I had done some blending on this, which that might be something you end up doing on your card. So let's see. I'll use my black Memento for my sentiment. Okay, I like the font. And then I'm going to see if I like this. I don't know if I'm going to like it, and if I don't, I'll just turn it over. So I put a little bit of peacock on my blending brush, and I'm just going to go in and ever so lightly, like, make water. Okay, and then we will take our Garden Green, and how about we stamp that on a scrap, and we'll cut that fish out and pop him up and make it a little three-dimensional. So here's a scrap, and there he is. And we're going to cut this guy out. There are no dies with this stamp set, and it does not have a suite that it belongs to. It's just a single stamp set. So you're most likely going to use cardstock with this stamp set. Now you might find some designer series paper that will complement it. You know, anything blue for water. We do have a 6x6 pack of paper that has some scenery that I didn't use for tonight, but I'm thinking would probably work with this stamp set. The pier and the trees for sure. All right, let's grab some Stampin' Dimensionals. And put those on. I know I have another piece that I had already started, but don't see it. So I'm going to pull that backing off. Let me grab a smaller one to help with just filling in the little tip of his head there. Okay. And we're going to put him right there. And then we're going to pop this up. And then I've got my linen thread that we'll use to make a bow. So this is really a really easy card. You're basically making your own designer series paper. Think of it like a collage. And I'm always looking for stamps that are good for making masculine cards. You know, we need Father's Day cards, we need birthday cards, but you know, we still need get well cards and encouragement cards for the men in our life as well. All right, and then also there are these are the shades of green hexagons, which you could use, and I'm thinking about using with this. Or you could use plain rhinestones. And my thought is, and these might be a little too big, but let's see. I was thinking of making little bubbles. Like, oops, like the fish is breathing. So okay, and then let's do our bow. Now, I have people asking me all the time, how do you do your bows? Because I don't like wimpy bows. So I use my 2 fingers and I keep a little tail here at the end. And what I do is I wrap, let's do this again. 1, 2, 3. Now see how I have a tail on this end? You want to end it so that you'll have a tail on the other end. That way you know you've done it enough times. All right, and then we're going to slip that off of our fingers and we're going to pinch it in the middle. That is going to be our loops. All right, so then you're going to cut another piece. Okay, and we're going to, you're holding those loops. Use all the fingers that you need. Whoops. And then we're going to, one-handed, pull it through, and then I'm just going to use my lips to pull it. And then I'm going to move the knot in the center. Tie it tighter. If you want to, you can do a double knot. They don't usually come apart, but if you want to, you can. And then you're going to take all the tails, there's going to be 4, you pull them forward, and then you decide how long you want them to be, and then you cut off the excess. And then that's my bow, okay? And let's put it here. I think I want to trim those tails a little bit more. Okay, and then we're going to add a glue dot. And now my glue dots are a little bit too big, so I am going to try and hide my glue dot so you don't see it. And that way the linen thread is a little bit more bulk to it, and you can actually see it better on your card. I don't like wimpy bows. Okay, now if you want to add a little bit more sparkle, because you know fish, their scales do sparkle. God made fish scales to be really, really pretty actually. So I'm going to grab my Wink of Stella pen and I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle to those fish bodies, because they do shimmer. God made fish shiny and sparkly. I don't know that all of them are, but when I've gone fishing with my dad, they do have sparkly scales. Okay, so we're going to add that. If If I were going to do this card again, I probably would have done a little blending on it. It's a lot of white. You could go in and color the fish if you wanted to. I'm not going to. It's a lot of coloring. You guys don't want to see me color. But I think it's a cute card. You know, you've got an idea of what I want to do, and then once I start to do it, you know me, guys, I kind of change my mind as I go. Okay. I think, let's get their little tails. I'm not really squeezing any glitter. I'm just using what's on the brush. Now, when you use a Wink of Stella, because it's wet, it's going to smear your ink a little bit, and that's okay. It's pretty cool when you do that. It looks like you watercolored. Okay, and let's do this guy right here. I don't think I did him. Okay. It's very clean, crisp. So that's the card. And it's always hard to see the Wink of Stella on camera, but there we go. Okay. All right, now our next card, hopefully that's giving you ideas of how to use the stamp set. You make a collage. Okay, now the next one, we're going to use a garden green again, and I pulled, I think this is Darling Duckling as a mat, and we're going to do some stamping on this piece, and then we've got some stamping on this one, and I'm going to get another scrap because I'm going to stamp that cute little boy that's fishing. Let me find a scrap. Where's my scraps? Might just have to grab another one of these guys. And we're going to stamp this in black. Okay. Right, don't press too hard. It's red rubber and you don't want to see the edges of the stamp. I'm going to color this now with some colored pencils. If I can get them out of the box. Come on, you. They're like really tightly in there. Let's do some blue shorts, and there we go. All right, what's this one? Blue, red. I don't know that I want red. That's black. Okay, we're going to do his shorts blue. I'm not pressing really hard with my colored pencil. This is another technique, just using watercolor pencils. How many of you guys like to use watercolor pencils? I think sometimes they get forgotten with our Stampin' blends. I tend to use those more. All right, and we have two color sets of pencils. All right. This one's Night of Navy. I should know. I think I'm going to make this one darker. I do too. I really enjoy watercolor pencils. Makes me look good as an artist. All right, let's do, I'm noticing I grabbed one of the boxes that has retired colors in it. Oh, all right, we could do red for his shirt. You want to get a little pencil sharpener. I like the ones that have a closure lid so that the shavings don't go everywhere. Now you notice I'm not really doing an excellent job of coloring because I'm going to go over it with this, which is a blending pen. Okay, it has fluid in it, and we just rub it over and it smooths out your brush strokes, making it look like it's been painted. Okay, and then I just wipe it off, and then I go in again. I use the same, and I just smooth out those strokes. Okay. Let's grab, we've got, I think, early espresso. We'll put, that one needs to be sharpened. Let me grab this guy. Do his suspenders. I'm going to do his hat. And then I'm going to, I didn't fill it all in because I wanted to kind of go lightly on his, not as dark on his hat. And then let's do, we do have a black, but I don't think I want to do black. I will go in with some more brown for his boots, I think. Okay. Smooth it out. And you don't have to color every part of it because you're moving the color around. And then I'll do the black for this part of his chair. And then let's put in some green. I'm going to do green for his, this part of his chair. My camping chairs are green. Oops, I want this part. Okay, and then I probably need to color the fish. We'll do a lighter green. I think this is Old Olive. Oh, it looks really dark. Okay, now I don't really have a skin color, so I don't know if I'm going to color. If I do Coastal Cabana, I might be able to do just a soft, we'll do a soft, that might be too peachy. His face might be a little sunburned. Let's get the green off. I might grab my, do I have my other one? It doesn't look like it, so let me just get more off. There we go. Now I've had these blending brush or blending pens for a long time. Mine haven't dried up yet. Curious how long yours have lasted. So I just used a little bit of Calypso Coral very lightly to give him some skin color. And it didn't come out too bad. All right, so I'm going to cut him out, and he's going to go on this 3D. And we're going to put a sentiment on this, but also, let me cut him out, then we're going to stamp some trees. Okay, can you guys see? So the watercolor pencils are actually pretty economical. You get a lot of colors. One pack comes with 13, and then the other pack comes with 10. So if you don't want to pay the price of our stamping blend pens, the watercolor pencils are actually pretty frugal because you get a lot more colors. Now I'm using white with white, so it does not have to be perfect with this fussy cutting. I just want him to be three-dimensional. So I'm not really going to worry about getting every little piece. I'm probably doing more than I need to. Okay. And then let's put our trees on here. So let's go with garden green again. I'm going to move that pretty peacock out of the way so we don't make a boo-boo. And I am going to, now there's two different trees on here. I'm just going to stamp 3 times, okay, and then let's grab some balmy blue and we're going to do some sky. Let's go just ever so lightly. I think I need more color, but you can always add more color, but you can't take it off. So I'm really just kind of using what's on the brush. Now you can see that there's blue on there. When you hold it up to white, you can tell that there's some blue on there. It's just really, really light to make it look like a sky. Now, my trunks are green, and that's okay. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to go in with my Early Espresso colored pencil, and I'm going to just add in some brown to make them look like trunks. Okay, and let's see, let's go up a little bit more. Okay, and then we've got some little rocks. So I'm going to take the basic black, but I'm just going to go so lightly that it looks like gray. Hi Gail, how are you? Gail in Arkansas. Okay, so we just did those rocks. Okay, now I'm just looking at it going, do I want to fill in with colored pencil on the trees, or do I want to just leave it airy like that? Thought we had, yeah, we do have a garden green. I might go in there with a little bit with some green and just fill it in lightly. Let's move that so we don't get colored pencil on our yellow color. And I am not doing a perfect job. I'm just filling in so there's that white is filled in and we have more green. That's all I'm doing. I am not trying to do it precisely and perfectly. I'm just kind of doing it a little sloppy, but it doesn't look bad. Like, I don't want you to feel like this has got to take you an hour to color. It took me less than a minute, maybe a minute. Okay? All right. Now let's adhere this to our darling duckling mat. Hi Shannon, yep, I try to go live every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Lord willing, it doesn't always happen, but I try. And then I'm going to pop that up. Okay. And then we're going to put this on. There we go. Now, we have our little fisherman right here. I could go this way and have room for my sentiment, or I could go this way, but it's going to cover up more of the trees, so I think I want to go this way. I'm going to see if I can find, let me see if a smaller die would work better. Let's see. Don't want to cover up all those trees. Let's see what I... See, that's not going to give me enough room for my sentiment. Go a little bit bigger. I always have lots of dies pre-cut that I can use for my cards. Let's go with this one. It's a little bit, well, about the same. This one's a little bit bigger. This is from a punch. That will give me more space. All right, I'm going to not use that one. So now I did just because. Ooh, let's do Thinking of You. Well, thank you, Patricia, for sharing the video. Thanks so much for doing that. I really appreciate when people share my videos, because then that lets more people find me. And we're going to pop this up with some dimensionals. And I'm going to use a mini dimensional for that part of his head. You don't have to go crazy with dimensionals, but I like it to have enough support. Kind of feel like he's floating in the air. And also, I think I'm going to add, let's add some grass. There we go. All right, and I didn't do it directly on the card, Gail, because I wanted this to be dimensional. I personally don't care for flat cards, but yes, you could have done that. I'm just trying to add a little bit of dimension to the card. All right, and then we're going to add another baker's twine. And I'll show you guys how to do that one more time. So we're going to have a little bit of a tail here. I'm going to wrap 1, 2, 3, and now I have my tail on the other side. Then I'm going to take it off, and there are my loops. Okay, I'm going to pinch them in the middle. And then we're going to take another piece of the twine and we're going to pull those loops down so they don't get in the way. And then I've made my knot. I'm going to just pull it with my mouth and then center my knot. And then I'll probably do another knot just to be safe. Then we're going to pull down our tails, all 4 of them, and then cut off the excess, and then you can make it look pretty. Now this is just to add texture to our card, okay? And then we're gonna use a glue dot. Let me see if I can find my little baby glue dots because my other ones are so big that they actually show too much. So I always save the glue dots that come in our kits, okay? I use those for my twine bows. And they work great. So I'm going to pull off one of these guys and I'm going to put it on the back, peel that off, put that there. And that's just going to add some more texture to our card and make it interesting. And then we're going to add in some, when I've got extra embellishments, I use the envelopes that come with our dies because the dies usually go in the stamp set that they go with, that they coordinate with. That way they're together. And then I use those envelopes, I don't throw those away, to hold my extra embellishments because once you open them up, they never go back in those bags, hardly ever go back in those bags correctly, at least for me. Maybe you guys are more careful. All right, those could be some little floating June bugs, little lightning bugs for the summertime. Okay, whoop. And then like we did on the first card, we're gonna go in and we're gonna add a little Wink of Stella to our fish, give him some sparkly scales. All the little touches make our card unique and interesting. Okay, now I might go look at one of my other stamp sets and see if I could find a little bird. These were from Paper Pumpkin, and so I think I'm going to add some little birds in the sky to fill up some of that spot right there. So if you don't subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, why not? Because it's awesome. It's a box of fun that comes in the mail once a month. It's $27 plus tax, and that includes your shipping. And you get stamps, ink, and all the consumables. What color do I want to do? I'm just going to go black. There we go. Add some birds. And that helps. Okay. So there's our second card. All right, now for the last card. I've got Granny Apple Green, and I've got a black mat, and then each is 1/4 of an inch smaller, and we're going to do more blending on this one. Okay, so I'm grabbing Granny Apple Green and kind of dab off the color a little bit because I don't want too much. And I start on my surface first and then I go in, because I don't want dab marks. Now if you want to add more color you can, which I'm going to on this particular one. Make it a little bit darker right here. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to go in with some peach pie, and we're going to grab a different brush. I don't wash my brushes. I just use one for all my greens. I use one for my oranges. I use one for reds, that type of thing. Okay. All right, now hopefully this will work. Okay, not too bad. Let me grab a little more color, make it a little darker, a little more orangier. There we go. That's looking better. All right, now you notice I've gone up with the green. The reason why is because those are going to be trees over there. And we're going to go in with some Darling Duckling. And I'm going to go into the orange and a little bit out. Okay, and then I've got a little bit left up at the very top, and that's going to be our balmy blue for sky or clouds. This is always really fun. I love doing this type of technique, and I love blending brushes. They make it so much fun. Okay, so I've just created a background. Now, you've seen me use color. Now you're going to see me just do black on top of this. So we're going to ink up our Pier. And on larger stamps, I usually lift up my black onto the stamp itself. All right, let's move this over. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Then we're going to take our trees, but I need to wash the trees off because they have green on them, and so we're going to use our simple chamois. I keep mine in a stamp case, which we sell. And then we're going to ink this guy up. When I lay it down like this, when it's bigger than my ink pad, then it helps me to make sure that I can see that there's ink everywhere that there needs to be. All right, now we're going to put our tree in the line here. Like that. Then we're going to take our little, I gotta wash this guy, our little bits of grass and fill in more grass. Okay, And since we're doing this, and I already used those birds, I'm just going to add those birds in also. This was from a paper pumpkin. We've got birds from some other kits too, so you could pull some birds from one of your stamp sets and add in birds if you want to, or you don't have to. All right, now we're going to add this to our black mat. Isn't that stunning? Let's take this out of the way so you guys don't get distracted by all that color. Really, really easy and yet very stunning with the black. Okay. Make sure we don't put it upside down. All right, and then this one, I don't want to put it on there, so I'm going to use a little piece of paper because, but that's too big. So I think I'm going to cut my own. So let me use a scrap. Here's my scrap. And we'll cut our piece out. Now let me take my paper trimmer. I think I did it kind of crooked. I think I need to restamp it. It looks slanted. My eyeballs are crooked. Let's try it one more time. Might be the way the sticker is put on the stamp. Ah, see, that's slanting. 3 times. I think that looks straighter. I just needed to practice. I don't know that I want this. Well, yeah, we'll just do it. We're just going to do it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to put it on dimensionals or not, but I think I'm going to. Okay. All right, and then let's do another bow. Although maybe I don't. Do I want a bow? Yeah, we'll see. We'll make a bow and we'll see. If I don't like it, then I will use it on another card. Thank you, Gail. It is a really pretty card. This is going to be one of the cards that we do in July's class. All right. Come on, fingers. Don't get tired on me. There we go. I don't know if we need the bow. It's so light that it doesn't interfere with the stamping, but it does add texture. So I think I will add it because you can still see the pier. It doesn't cover up the pier. If it was a thick piece of ribbon, it would cover up our stamping, and I don't think I would like that. But since I can see through the bow, I think I'm gonna go ahead and use it because it's not making me not able to see. But then it gives me that texture to the card. Now, if you want, you can add in some Wink of Stella into the water to make it sparkle. You could do that. Give it some interest. Just the water. Okay, and I don't think I'm going to use any embellishments on that one. All right, so that's our 3 cards. So we have a blending background, we have stamping with some little bit of blending and using watercolor pencils, and then we made a collage, made our own designer series paper with the stamp set. So I think there's a lot that you can use, lots of fun ideas with Peaceful Pier. I hope that you'll try them out. Let's see, this stamp set is $23, which is very reasonable. And you don't really need dies. There's no dies that go with it. It's not a bundle, it's just a stamp set. But I think there's so many different possibilities with this stamp set that you can do. I hope that you've been inspired. And like I mentioned, you could even use the beautiful gallery designer series paper that has some landscapes if you wanted to. I'm looking at this and there might be, I don't know, you might be able to do something with some of these. I'm not sure. I'd have to play around and see. Maybe not. But I think these came out pretty good. Thanks for joining me this evening. I hope you've been inspired and encouraged to try some new techniques or get out some of your tools that you haven't used in a while. Get out those watercolor pencils. Get out your blending brushes. Get out your blending pens. Get out your Wink of Stella and use them. All right, everyone. I hope you have a blessed weekend. Stay healthy, and I hope that I will get to see you next week. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.